I am back from London, and it was quite an amazing trip. Saw so much, ate so much, did not do any excursions outside of London as we had planned to do, but that's okay, not a big deal. I wanted to show you what I wore and what I got while I was there. I did get some yarn. I know I'm not supposed to do that. Anyway, I'm wearing a sweater. I'm going to look it up. It is, so I can tell you who the designer is of this sweater. It is the Sweetheart 2020, and it is by Linnea Ornstein or Ornstein. I got it. I don't remember where I found it, but it's a great sweater. And the way she did it was with just simply 2 colors. But I wanted to do something that was kind of, not virile, but I wanted to do something with some different colors. So as you can see, I took the hearts, and I got some, had some periwinkle blue and some kind of a light soft green. And then I also wanted to add some thistles. So you can see, I just created a little thistle design, and I put that across the bottom and on the cuffs. It didn't work perfectly. I did have a little goof on the seam, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'm not one of those people that's going to rip out something just because there's a little teeny mistake. My grandmother always said that mistakes remind us that we're human. So this is a great sweater. I also have a hat that matches, but I put it somewhere and I don't know where. Anyway, I made a hat on the fly the night before we left and put the thistle design all over it. And then I think I showed you this before, but I don't know if it was finished. I had started a cable sweater in 2019 when I was a pastry chef at a lodge in the Olympic National Park. And then I put it away when I moved back to California and didn't touch it until November, December. I was looking through boxes and I found it, and I had completed the back and started the front. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Well, I realized I had not followed the pattern exactly when I was doing the back. So I followed the pattern exactly on the front. No one's going to care. I had people tell me, oh, you should rip it out and redo it. I said, no, I'm not doing it. So anyway, what I did is I decided to make a vest out of it. So it had corrugated ribbing in the bottom. So what I did is I did the corrugated ribbing on the arms and on the neck. And of course, I missed on one of my colors right here, but I got them correct at the joins. I just did this on the fly. But anyway, it was a really cool cable. I really liked it. So I loved wearing that with t-shirts. It was very comfortable. And I did buy myself, I was hoping to find some sweaters, but I'm going to have to go back and go to Scotland for that. Anyway, or Ireland. I did find some beautiful Irish wool socks that I got actually at a Scott store. But these were super comfy. I'm going to look at them and remake the pattern, I think. I have a great sock pattern that I've used already, and I wish I had the pair of socks that I made for my son. I finished one sock while we were on the trip, finished the second one while we were on the trip. He hasn't worn them yet, but anyway, I had that. So some other things I wanted to show you. Oh, let me go grab it. I am working on another sweater by Yuha Knitting. And I have done this pattern before. And my great friend Glenda Johnson purchased that one from me. So I did it similarly with just a few changes. And let me find her. She does great stuff. And her patterns are fantastic. Yuha Knitting, they're on Instagram and Ravelry and things like that. I'm sorry that I forget what her actual name is. But anyway, she does great work. And this is the original pattern. So you'll see when I show you, I made some changes just on the color scheme. And I'll tell you why. It's because I always forget. So at the bottom, the ribbing is supposed to be in dark blue, and then the first set of fish is supposed to be in the lighter blue. But I decided I wanted all the fish the same color, so I did them in the dark blue. And then also on the yoke, the fish are the dark blue. So I've got the sleeves attached and working on the yoke. These are fast for me to work up, and I love doing them. I usually use, they don't sell it anymore, Joanne, you know, going out of business. Hope somebody buys them. It was called Buttercream, rebranded to KNC, but it is a roving, I guess technically it's a bulky, yes, it's technically a bulky, so it's appropriate for Lopapesa, and it's 100% wool. It's a great wool. It's made in Turkey, but I didn't have enough of some of the other I wanted to use, so I'm using this wool from Hobby, Hobbii is the site. They're in Denmark, I believe, and I'm using Happy Sheep wool. This is going to be discontinued, so they have a worsted. This is the worsted weight. I find I can get away with using the worsted weight for accents in Lopapesa. So I have a lot of this of different colors. I got some off-white and some kind of weird creamy pinky thing. Anyway, I've got a lot of colors. But I just ordered the bulky version, which is a more Lopapesa style. Like I said, it's going to be discontinued, so I invested in that. And that is all I'm buying, period. I just put all my stash up on Ravelry. I am on Ravelry as Naughty Knitter, Knotty Knitter 79, I think. I'm going to change that to Mishka Larson Creations. But anyway, I have my stash up there, a few things for sale. But honest to God, if you see anything in there you like, make me an offer, because I can make stuff from it, but I can also not make stuff from it. So let me know. The other thing that is discontinued, at least not going to be sold from Joanne, is the Patton's Classic Worsted. I love this stuff. I mean, I have used this for as long as I can remember. When I started knitting when I was a very little girl, and anytime I would visit my grandparents when they moved to Oregon, we would go to the Pendleton Mills, and my grandmother would buy yard goods from these big bins. They had big bins of yard goods. There were afters or seconds or whatever, and then there were big bins of yarn. It was like $1 a skein, and or 50 cents or something. Anyway, so I'd buy a lot of Aran weight wool and make things from it. So I'm very sad that I can't get this anymore. I know there are people on Etsy and stuff that do sell it. And then one of the things I found, I used to belong to Knit Crate. I don't know if you remember Knit Crate, but I loved Knit Crate. And I found some things that used a couple of one other color. I don't remember. I think it's a worsted weight light blue I have back in a box. But I found this from Odine Wools. I don't even know if Odine Wools is its own separate thing. It says it's made for Knit Crate, but it was this beautiful merino wool, baby alpaca, and silk. So I'm going to make something for one of my sisters who loves the color green. And then I also found this Uru yarn, which is a super bulky, yeah, it's a super bulky wool Peruvian Pima cotton. Got a couple of hanks of this. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe some kind of scarf or out of it, but I'm probably going to end up making a scarf out of this green. I've got some scarf patterns. I have a few scarf patterns and cowl patterns that I actually developed myself. I just have to write those up. Oh, hit the camera, sorry. The other thing I got, and I'm sorry, I do not remember the YouTuber that I saw this on. She had made the Prince of Wales, slipover on her YouTube. She showed it. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I can't remember who she is. If I can find her, I will put her information in the show notes. And I saw that, I thought, that is fantastic. But she got it from this book, Folk Vests, by Cheryl Oberle. I got it from World Books, I think. So I was looking through it, thinking I was going to make that vest. And I think what I'm actually going to do is make this one. It's the Crofter Slipover. I think I'm going to make this one. But I'm going to use worsted weight instead of Jameson's because I don't have any Jameson's. And honestly, if I'm making socks with 2 and 3 size needles, it's okay. But anything else, I would probably die. So I just did the math. It's not precise, but it's what I've done before, where I look at what the gauge is for the pattern, and then I look at what the gauge is for, you know, for example, for this is pretty typical gauge for me with patterns worsted. And then I figure out the percentage difference, and then I go through the whole pattern, and I, you know, make notations of what color I'm going to use and the actual stitches. I'll do a test swatch and see, you know, how it works. But I really think that's a great vest. I think vests are the way to go in California. Now, this morning it was quite chilly. It felt like London. And I had this sweater on outside while I was walking my cat, and it was quite nice. But I think vests are the way to go, whether they're in wool or cotton, because I noticed when I had this vest on when I was in London, which is with the t-shirt on underneath, when I went inside to a cafe or something, I was still warm, but not sweaty hot, like I would get if I was still wearing this, you know, going inside somewhere. So, I think the other thing I wanted to show you, which I don't think I showed you before, was this hat pattern. And I got it for a specific reason. It's from Nancy Bates Designs. Here's the pattern. It's the Washington hat. She does hats based on national parks and states and things like that. I think she has a whole bunch for California. Anyway, I decided I wanted to make that. And I have all of the colors, but not in not in the yarn she was using. So I did find there is a Patons Evermore that is recycled wool that has a little bit of 10% polyester in it, that I'm not too upset about that 10% polyester. But it's a heather. You can see here's the green and here's the kind of chocolate brownish color. So I'm going to use those two, and I got a skein of Lion's Local Grown. So I'm going to use those, and I think it's 4 colors actually. So I think I have a patterns somewhere. So I'm going to make that. Now, on her pattern, she embroiders a little Sasquatch walking along. Now, for those of you who don't know, I make magic in Disneyland, and I am a villager in Galaxy's Edge on the planet Batu. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be cute if I embroidered little teeny Ewoks? I'm not really sure how that would work. I think I'd have to actually use embroidery floss. So that's a possibility once I actually make the hat. The other thing, oh, I definitely have to show you this. I did buy some yarn while I was in London. There really weren't any yarn shops that I wanted to go to. I was hoping that there would be one that sold Jameson and Smith. But again, I'm just going to have to go to Scotland. I did accidentally come across a craft store when we were in, oh gosh, where were we? We were in Chelsea or something like that. I can't remember. And walked past. I said, oh, I have to go in. So I found these. There were 4 colors, and I found these 2, this blue and this green. It is the Croft Wild Shetland, 100% Shetland wool, Islands wool. And it is, I would say, it's an Aran roving. It feels like it's very similar to the Happy Sheep wool weight. When I look at the strands, it's very similar to that. It says it's Aran. Do I know what I'm going to make with it? I absolutely do not, but I like it. And I thought, you know, that's the kind of souvenir I wanted to have, because I'm very practical. My mother-in-law used to say I'm just too pragmatic, but I like things that I can use. I did buy a couple of little pins, but And then the last thing I'm going to show you is some yarn that is being, I don't know if it's being discontinued. It's a Lion brand. It's Landscapes. It's acrylic, which I know, Shelly, you're using acrylic. It's a shock. But I do make a lot of cowls out of acrylic because some people just don't like the wool. And it's not itchy if you process it properly. But in this climate, in a warmer climate, having acrylic is a better thing. So each one of these skeins will make a cowl based on a design that I created during the pandemic, and I have to write that one up. It's not really hard, but it's a great stitch, and it makes it looks really cool with this particular yarn. So I got 5 of them. The Blue Lagoon, Volcano. This one is Mountain Range, similar to Volcano, but a little darker. I also got, what's this one called? Desert Spring. This one is really cool. I'm thinking about making one of my sisters this cowl. She lives in a deserty climate, but she also likes green, so I don't know. I might get that one. And then this is my favorite. This is Promenade or Promenade. It's a very colorful. I'm not sure how these are going to work up. A lot of times variegated yarn works up in stripes. You just never know, which is why I love it so much. So that's everything about getting things in London, what I'm wearing, what I made, what I'm making. I am going to start on that vest once I swatch with the yarn. Going through my stash and making a list on Ravelry was for my own purposes. I wanted to really see what I had in a more specific, strategic way. I thought of just doing it on a spreadsheet, but it's a great system they have for your stash. And if you want to sell any of it, you know, you can put it up for sale. So I did that. So the other things I have to do, I've got some sewing to do for one of my sons, but I also have to finish this quilt. I mean, it's been folded up for 2 months. I'm not going to open the whole thing, and I do not remember where I got the pattern. It's a rainbow quilt, but I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to give it to one of my son's friends because it will make her happy. So I'm going to do that. Some of what I do, I give away. Some of it I sell. I do have a lot of jackets still and some hand-dyed yarn available. It's on my Go Imagine page, goimagine.com/Mishka Larson Creations. Still am having trouble with my specific URL, but you can go to Go Imagine and you can find my things there. I'm going to be uploading some more stuff. I still have that moose sweater available. It is a Yuha design, like the fish one I did, but it's a larger sweater, so it's probably would fit somebody that's an extra large, not 3X, but I'd say extra large. I think it's on my Go Imagine. If it's not, I will get it up there. Anyway, so for everything that I talked about today, if it is a pattern available on Ravelry or a pattern available elsewhere, I will put the information below so that you can have it in case you want to make something. And if you don't want to make it, and I've made it, it's probably available on my Go Imagine site for sale. And it'd be great if people supported small businesses like mine, especially in these times. People are doing their best to make do, and like I said during World War II, make do and mend. And that's what I'm trying to promote, is people making things, creating things from recycled products. Sometimes I find yarn and fabrics from all sorts of different places, and I can make them into something new. I don't unravel sweaters to make new sweaters. I figure that sweater's already made, so someone can wear it. There's no point in unraveling it. But I do try to recycle as much as I can. In fact, the quilt behind me is made from a combination of recycled fabrics and discontinued fabrics, like bolt ends. And so I used all those, and I can't remember what the pattern was, but it's a pattern, so I'll try to find it and put it down below. Anyway, I've gone over my time. I usually try to keep these to less than 15 minutes. I appreciate you spending time with me today, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Today, I didn't have any thoughts on politics because, you know what, sometimes we just need to get away from that, even though it's there and it's happening. There are things we can control and things we can't control. Those things we can control, we should do something about. Things we can't control, we have to hope that those with legal prowess will take care of those for us. So with that, I'm going to wish you a great day and good luck today. Have an awesome one, and I will see you next time.